on Prime Crime.
When he comes to a P. Diddy party, this is what happens to the white man. When they come to one of my parties, this is what happens to them.
One of entertainment's biggest powerhouses comes crashing down.
I was up, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
A year ago, Sean Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City. Today, he's been indicted and will face justice.
He's dealt with every challenge in his life, and he's not guilty. He's innocent of these charges.
As his controversial past faces questions that could reveal long-buried secrets.
For myself, and I think a lot of other people in this industry, I mean, it's all a shock.
Hey there, everybody, I'm Jesse Weber, and welcome to Prime Crime, where we break down some of the most compelling and memorable true crime cases from across the country. Hollywood celebrities are no stranger to controversies, and they can often become targets due to their high-profile status, but with several allegations now swirling around a famed music producer and hip-hop icon, he may have to soon face the music himself.
He used his business and employees of that business and other close associates to get his way. A year ago, Sean Combs stood in Times Square and was handed a key to New York City. Today, he's been indicted and will face justice.
U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Damian Williams, is talking about 54-year-old Sean Combs, aka Diddy, the musician, producer, and business mogul who rose to fame as one of hip-hop's biggest personalities.
New York, we did it! Harlem, we did it! Mount Vernon, we did it! The Bronx, we did it! Let's go! The key to the city! Yeah, yeah, yeah!
But now, Combs is charged in a federal indictment, accused of sex trafficking and racketeering. How did we get here exactly? To answer that, we have to venture back to Combs' rise among the Hollywood ranks.
Diddy was born in Harlem. After his father was murdered, he went to an all-boys Catholic school and then went off to Howard University. And that's when he started throwing these parties. And Diddy was always the life of the party.
What's up, y'all? Coming here live from London. Extremely humble, grateful, and blessed. Just got nominated for a Grammy.
Eventually, he obtained an internship at Uptown Records, and that is where his career in music begun.
Today's honoree is the first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, honoring Sean Diddy Combs.
Not only is he a rapper, not only is he a music mogul, this individual is a legend. Who knew that this bad boy was going to turn into a great man?
By 1990, he's working as a talent director for Uptown, but he hits it big 3 years later when he starts Bad Boy Entertainment. From there, it just explodes. He's signing people as a producer, big names like Notorious B.I.G., Usher, Mary J. Blige. It's music, it's fashion with Sean John, where he's a founder. He was literally the top of the world when it came to music, entertainment, alcohol, anything that he touched. He had the Midas touch.
Congratulations. Let's get that chair shot one more time to make sure y'all got it.
And over here with the cheers. Love it.
His empire extended well past his kind of rapping career. That's where he was making more of his money, actually, was off of his, I guess, material empire.
He seemed to be really dedicated to being successful in the industry. And he decided that instead of following someone around, he would make his own way, and he did that. He also is presumably a family man. He has been in some very public relationships. There's Kim Porter. I think we all remember his relationship with Jennifer Lopez. He has 7 children, and he really takes pride, at least publicly, in being involved as a father.
It's no secret how prominent Combs has been in the music and entertainment industries, and not just for his own work.
He just knew how to spot talent. At one point, Diddy had his hands on everyone's career. It seemed like every artist that was on the chart at one point, was bad boy.
He makes himself out to be someone that people think they want to be. He lives the life that people think they want to live, where it's glamorous, you're flying around, you're on yachts, you dress nice. He was known for throwing parties. The problem is when you have that culture and you don't have people telling you no, you don't have parameters and guidance. And it just seems to get more and more extreme.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
As Combs' fame and fortune grew, so did his circle of friends, and word of his notorious parties quickly spread.
I've got a lot I can't tell. So, I can't tell that one either.
Everyone knew about the infamous Diddy parties. And at one point, everyone wanted to go to the parties because the who's who, the A-list would go to the parties. You can go down the list of celebrities who would go.
However, rumors were swirling that these parties, attended by some of entertainment's biggest names, weren't your typical soiree. They allegedly had a dark side.
I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did.
As these parties went on, people started noticing some allegedly illegal conduct or nefarious conduct that was happening.
Hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at.
There have always been whispers and rumors about what happens at Diddy's parties after midnight and how things can get really crazy, and also allegations of sexual assault and abuse.
We just got back to headquarters. Everybody take a shot. Sandy, was it DeLeon tequila?
These rumors and these stories would come up, but just as almost quickly as they'd come up, they'd often fall by the wayside. I think a lot of people looked the other way or just thought these stories were way too crazy to be true.
It was also his mentorships and interactions with up-and-coming stars that drew attention too.
Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy. You know, where we hanging out and what we doing, we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me, and we gonna go full crazy.
Whether it be for hip hop, music, African American or black culture, Sean Combs has always been seen as a pillar of bringing it to the mainstream. You see individuals like Usher and even Justin Bieber who followed thereafter kind of coming through the roots of Sean Combs, through his tutelage, through his experience and through his connections.
People would bring their artists to Diddy, and we're starting to see videos of that.
Yet it wasn't all highs for the superstar. Over the years, Diddy's fame came with several run-ins with the law, one of the most infamous being Combs' arrest in 1999.
December of 1999, Sean Combs, his then girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, their bodyguard, and a young and up-and-coming rapper by the name of Shine all go to a nightclub. There was a dispute, and according to at least one of the 3 victims that were shot, Sean Combs is the one that shot that person.
I came here today just to tell the truth, so hopefully we can get down to the bottom of this. I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
J-Lo was quickly not prosecuted. DP declined to prosecute, so she's out of it. Sean Combs, the bodyguard, and Shine all go to trial.
How y'all doing this morning? Excuse me.
We're going to win this trial. The facts are going to set Mr. Combs free because he's not guilty here, and that's all that matters is the facts.
The bodyguard and Sean Combs acquitted. Shine convicted of reckless endangerment, assault in the first degree, possession of a weapon, but acquitted of an attempted murder. Shine ends up doing just shy of a decade.
There were allegations that he had bribed one of the drivers to pretend the gun was his and to sort of take the responsibility.
That's the thing about Diddy, there's a lot of speculation. The urban legend is that Diddy was the one who shot her in the face, but Shine ended up going to jail for it. There's a culture of silence. And it's starting to become apparent. And this is just not particular to Diddy. This is particular to men with power and money.
Y'all don't know how to be accountable. I'm accountable. I pay all y'all checks every week. I'm accountable. It's my responsibility to run this company. I'm accountable. I don't make no excuses.
Following this turbulent time for the hip-hop heavyweight, Combs quickly pivots to growing his empire, including signing new artists like Cassandra Ventura, more popularly known as Cassie, in 2006.
Cassie was signed to his label, Bad Boy Records, and released her debut album under the label. Initially, it just looked like a business relationship. Later on, there were rumblings that there was a romantic relationship going on.
Tell me about what you're wearing.
This is Nora Tuvu, and it's French designer.
I'm wearing Rick Owens and some Louboutin shoes.
Combs and Ventura soon go public with their relationship, but after several years, it suddenly ends.
They were on and off, but after a decade, there's no ring, there's no children. They broke up. So you're starting to wonder what is going on with that relationship.
But even though their relationship ended, what came next shocked everyone. In late 2023, Ventura files a bombshell lawsuit against Sean Combs that changes everything. And you won't believe what she alleges.
We had no idea at the time the tumultuous nature of their relationship. We didn't know what she was going through.
Hey everybody, real quick, this is a law and crime legal alert. A mother was recently awarded millions of dollars in a lawsuit against baby formula manufacturers after her premature baby was diagnosed with necrotizing enterocolitis, or NEC, after receiving a bovine-based formula. The lawsuits allege that Enfamil and Similac premature formulas, they are linked to NEC, but manufacturers, they failed to warn the public of the risks and targeted them with false advertising. So if your premature baby was diagnosed with NEC after they were fed Enfamil or Similac, you may qualify for compensation. And one of our legal sponsors is partnering with Wagstaff Law Firm. This is a national firm renowned for their expertise to ensure that eligible claims are thoroughly presented. Just visit babyformuladamages.com/primecrime to answer less than 10 questions and check your eligibility to file a claim.
I've had a great life. I've settled $4.125 million with Diddy. Okay, was he scared that I was going to expose him? I seen the liquid cocaine, I've drank it myself. Having sex with Diddy and Cassie. Okay, it's not good. He drinks it all the time.
At one point in time, Sean Diddy Combs was one of hip-hop's wealthiest moguls. His years in the spotlight brought success and pitfalls, but he always seemed to land on his feet. That is until 2023, when his strong arm of influence began to unravel in the wake of a controversial lawsuit.
There's one thing to go on an interview or go online and accuse someone of something, but the second there's a lawsuit involved, I think is a powerful, powerful move. Cassie was incredibly brave to put her story on paper.
In her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, sexual assault, and rape at the hands of Diddy.
Cassie alleged she was a victim of sex trafficking, that she was forced to engage in sex acts with male prostitutes, that she was threatened, that she was a victim of violence. She's alleging essentially that this was one big ongoing criminal enterprise.
We learned from Cassie's lawsuit that she did try to date rapper Kid Cudi, and that Diddy allegedly blew up his car and told her that he was gonna blow up his car. She did allegedly suffer at very high lengths his abuse.
It took her years, obviously, to get the courage to come forward. In the shadow of Me Too, where we're talking about, believing women and believing these victims, a lot of people did not believe Cassie and called her a gold digger.
While these were certainly explosive revelations, this was not the first time we heard this. Back in 2018, a seemingly random interrogation of a suspect in Florida in an entirely unrelated case now may be a crucial clue.
Do you know Sean Combs?
Puff Daddy.
Yeah.
P. Diddy, whatever you call himself.
Yeah.
Jonathan Odie is a sex worker, stripper, porn star, and in 2018 he was arrested for basically shooting up Donald Trump's Miami golf course. It's crazy, he gets arrested, and during the interrogation he says at the time, which sounds completely outlandish, that he was, and he does like the kind of air quotes, a sex slave to Diddy and his girlfriend Cassie.
He's part of what's called the Boule. The Boule is a branch of the Illuminati. I had settlement with Sean, okay? And he belongs to that agenda. That's why he's so famous. They land all the contracts.
Jonathan Odie had beef with Trump, with Obama. People didn't believe him when he said that he was involved with drug-fueled sex parties with Diddy.
I had sex with Cassie and Sean. I had like 15 encounters, and I heard a lot of business. I was like a sex slave, okay? For them, that's what I was.
He's some kind of just like low profile stripper, porn star, is a sex slave to Sean Combs. At the time, it sounds absolutely ridiculous. But Cassie's lawsuit seems to be corroborating what Odie is saying.
Cassie Ventura's lawsuit that was filed in November of 2023 came under the New York Survivors Act. The law allowed for people to be able to sue who were victims of sexual assault, no matter how far back it goes. So she filed, I think, probably the day before the deadline or the week of the deadline. It was settled within 24 hours of the filing itself for an undisclosed amount. Once she filed her lawsuit, that was the catalyst to this entire investigation, and I think opened up the floodgates.
While Ventura's lawsuit is resolved very quickly, this gets the ball rolling as several other people come forward with lawsuits and accusations of their own, including one which definitely raised some eyebrows.
Probably the largest name and the largest recognition being Rodney Jones, who is a music producer. In Rodney Jones's civil lawsuit, he alleges prostitution, RICO, sex trafficking, and potentially the trafficking of minors. He himself was a victim because he was also coerced into performing sex acts.
Stop playing. You heard? My boy want that check. No human harm. I'm just saying. Rapper vibes. Whoa! By Monday. Want that money by Monday, Diddy.
Little Rod goes into a lot of detail about the violence, the threats, stealing money from Little Rod, and he was just thrown aside by Diddy as just a kook, as someone who's a hanger-on, someone trying to get money. But he provides corroboration to Cassie.
I think that because Cassie's lawsuit had settled, that other people started filing lawsuits in the hope that their cases also end up with a big payday.
Even Combs' son, Christian Combs, is implicated, facing a lawsuit of his own.
Christian Combs, earlier this year in April of 2024, was accused, and there was a lawsuit filed against him for allegedly drugging someone and trying to have sexual relations with them. That's very similar to the situation that's going on with Sean Combs. She was someone who was hired to be a worker on that boat. So it's not like she volunteered to participate in a certain lifestyle or was someone coming to a party that she knew what would happen at the party. She thought she was doing a job.
And as these civil lawsuits increased, often silence spoke louder than words.
Members of the music community, people in the recording industry as a whole, just not even addressing it, ignoring it, pretending that it didn't happen, sometimes is actually worse than denying that they are involved, denying that any of this happened.
Prior to these cases, even prior to the shooting, there wasn't a lot of negative attention around Diddy. He was this young guy that partied. There's been a lot of things said about Diddy over the years. So when you hear stuff, you almost don't know if it's true or not.
Not everyone with a Sean Combs story has filed a lawsuit. Other celebrities have come out with their own allegations, and they take it straight to social media.
We walk in and there's all these ladies there wearing their club gear, and Kanye and Diddy are already completely up. Diddy hands me a drink. Immediately I'm like, there's something in this drink. I turn and my manager's walking out. The music's low, the lights are dim. I realize that I'm in the studio with Diddy and Kanye, and there's 3 other men and me, alone. I'm not in the industry anymore. I'm not filing a lawsuit, so I'm not getting paid. I'm not looking for clout, because who gives a about me? So why would I lie about this?
As this man, known for his association with luxury, fame, and a wildly successful media empire, finds himself at the center of multiple career-ending allegations, what is soon revealed is worse than anyone could imagine.
Puffy beat the out of her. I shouldn't say that because I'm trying to protect her image, but he beat the out of her.
Those initial raids were the beginning of the end. They wanted to make sure that what the people were telling them was accurate and that they would be able to find evidence to back it up. And of course, they did.
Amid several lawsuits and allegations of questionable conduct, rap icon Sean Combs is also under criminal investigation. And on March 25th, 2024, with search warrants in hand, federal agents take action at 2 of his houses, one in Miami, the other in Los Angeles.
They did that to make sure that they would not raid one property and he would be able to clean out the other. They wanted to go into both of his main homes at the same time and get whatever information they could. What they were investigating was human trafficking, sexual assault, and solicitation and distribution of illegal narcotics and firearms.
Let's just say it doesn't look good. Again, we pray that P. Diddy has nothing to do with this, that he's innocent of all the allegations being leveled against him. But it ain't a good look at all.
During the raid, dozens of agents searched the properties thoroughly to make sure that they hit every single secret entrance or room, looking for anything that would point to illegal activity that was happening on the properties.
The civil lawsuits meant everything for the ultimate criminal investigation of Diddy and the raid. Without the civil lawsuits, I don't think the feds would have gotten involved. They wouldn't have known about this.
It was Rodney Jones's civil lawsuit, in my opinion, that actually started the raids. Rodney insinuates that there's videos of all of this.
He was the one that said that there are tapes in Diddy's homes in LA and Miami. And then lo and behold, March 25th, just weeks after Rodney Jones's lawsuit, they go and search those exact same homes.
In Jones' sexual assault and harassment suit, he went so far as to claim that Combs had hidden cameras in every room of his homes, and that he had, and I quote, compromising footage of every person who has attended his parties.
Oh, did the camera catch that? Got the camera! Oh, got the camera!
They went in there knowing that there was digital evidence, hence why they turned the house basically upside down.
Combs' lawyers called the raids an unprecedented ambush and a witch hunt, saying HSI brought a gross use of military-level force and that there's no excuse for the hostility exhibited by authorities or the way his children and employees were treated.
They handcuffed his children. The investigators did that because you just never know what the actions of someone would be, and that's standard procedure during the raid process.
The fact that we know Diddy is armed, the fact that we know that he has bodyguards, all of that information is what also caused the federal government to go in there in a very tactical way. I know they've gotten some flack for that, but that was actually the appropriate thing to do. They did find guns, mostly AR-15s and other weapons with the serial numbers taken off. They found drugs. They did find ketamine.
But it was the digital evidence that really got people talking.
Once they got a hold of this digital evidence, they started processing it. And they started looking for the individuals that were on the videos. And they were able to take statements indicating that they were being held against their will and they were participating in these acts against their will.
People lie, but video does not. And if he's on these tapes that shows him involved with the sex acts, perhaps involved with violence as a perpetrator, yes, that could be used against Diddy.
There was a time when almost everyone only had glowing things to say about Sean Combs. But after the lawsuits, and particularly the raids, that all changed.
For myself, and I think a lot of other people in this industry, I mean, it's all a shock. Everybody is still trying to digest it and still trying to understand it. And even though, you know, there's still allegations and it's not anything that's factual yet, it's hurtful and it's confusing to a lot of people.
You see a lot of celebrities trying to scrub their pages of those connections.
People started to either silently distance themselves or come out and saying, I hope this leads to justice.
It's a separation, and that separation would not only be removing pictures or videos from your page, but things that are going to last forever, like your music. If you have a song that either mentioned or featured Sean Combs, you want that song to be able to exist. So if his name is mentioned, they may remove his name. And also, you had some people like 50 Cent really pushing the issue and saying, I told you so. This is who I told you he was.
These are behaviors and things that with drugs and all the stuff that's going on, pills, drinking, it can make this man into a monster, and that's what it did, bro.
Diddy had a lot of fans and a lot of hangers-on, and now he's radioactive.
Puffy, your life is in danger because you know the secrets, who's involved. When you go to prison, do not do your time going by Brother Love. Brother Love is not a good code name for prison.
We're starting to find out people knew. They saw things, but because of this culture of silence, when it comes to people with power and money, they're not speaking out as loud as they should be. But I think the tides are changing. People are speaking out loud, and they're finally being heard.
And one way people are speaking out is through more lawsuits.
Lawsuits after the raid corroborated what Cassie was saying, where you had other women who alleged that they were victimized by Diddy.
The first of 3 lawsuits comes 2 months after the raids. Model Crystal McKinney claims Combs sexually assaulted and drugged her at his studio back in 2003 and then had her blackballed from the industry. Next, April Lampros files a suit, alleging Combs assaulted her 4 times, starting when she was just a college student. A few months later, another suit, this one from Dawn Richard.
Dawn was a part of Danity Kane, which was a music group that Sean Combs was managing, was promoting.
Dawn Richard was hand-selected by Diddy to be part of this band. What's extra powerful, though, is that she apparently was a witness to the violence allegedly committed against Cassie, saying that she saw Diddy strike Cassie. So this is part of the elements of sex trafficking. You have to show force, fraud, or coercion. Well, this is force.
And there's another shocker. Dawn Richard also claims she witnessed Combs engaging in sex acts with young girls. But then, the biggest bombshell of all, May 17th, 2024. CNN releases a surveillance video from 2016 that appears to show Combs violently assaulting Cassandra Ventura in a hotel hallway.
When they saw that video of her in the hotel and how Diddy beat her and kicked her in the face, he kicked her in the face. That really changed the energy around these allegations. And I think that really solidified, oh no, some of these things may be real.
I think the video shocked the world and made people realize that she was telling the truth if there was any doubt of it before.
The weight of this video isn't lost on Sean Combs. He reacts quickly with an apology.
I was up. I mean, I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I'm so sorry.
He had to apologize after the video came out, and I'm sure it led federal investigators to think there's a lot more to it. The video corroborated what she was saying. It made Diddy look like a liar.
Coming up, could Sean Combs' empire come crashing down?
Breaking news, music trailblazer Sean Combs, also known as P. Diddy, has been arrested by authorities in New York City on federal charges. He was taken into custody at the Park Hyatt Hotel this evening.
Hey guys, listen, thank you so much for following the Sean Combs case with us. We're going to get right back to this. And look, we put a lot of work into this, and one of the reasons we're able to bring you these stories, go in depth into a story like this, is because of the amazing support that we get from our sponsors. And I have to call out one in particular right now, Morgan & Morgan. If you're injured, America's largest injury law firm, maybe who you want in your corner. They have an incredible track record of multi-million-dollar verdicts and settlements. I mean, recently they secured verdicts of $6.8 million in New York, $12 million in Florida, $26 million in Philadelphia. And mind you, these are all considerably higher than the highest insurance offers in these cases. And even if your case isn't worth millions of dollars, Morgan & Morgan will fight for what you deserve. There's no upfront fee. The whole process can be done straight from your smartphone. You can see if you have a case in just 8 clicks or less. So if you're injured, you can easily start a claim at forthepeople.com/primecrime.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
6 months after the raids on Sean Diddy Combs' houses and a flood of lawsuits, on September 16th, 2024, the self-proclaimed bad boy for life is officially arrested on federal charges.
Between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. Sean Combs led and participated in a racketeering conspiracy that used the business empire he controlled to carry out criminal activity, including sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and the obstruction of justice.
But there's one element to the indictment that stands out more than anything else: the freak-offs.
I think the freak-offs were the most shocking thing in the indictment. It's one thing to know that he had wild parties. The fact that Diddy filmed himself and filmed others showed that he thought he would never get caught.
Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported over state lines, and he often electronically recorded them.
At its core, what the government is saying is that there's a criminal enterprise that Sean Combs is the leader of that transports women and male prostitutes for the purpose of having these freak-offs, these sex parties where people are drugged and they have sex for days on end. There are a number of charges underneath them, but the freak-offs in these parties are really at the heart of this case.
On September 17th, a day after Sean Combs' arrest, his sons and his attorney join him in court for a bail hearing.
Diddy knew what was coming, and that's what his lawyers said, that he came to New York because he knew this could happen. He could be arrested.
I spent the evening with him about 1 o'clock. His spirits are good. He's confident. He is dealing with this head on, the way he's dealt with every challenge in his life, and he's not guilty. He's innocent of these charges.
The charges in the latest indictment are very serious. From a jail time perspective, the racketeering conspiracy, minimum of 20 years to life. Trafficking, minimum of 15 to life, and the transportation for the purpose of prostitution, up to 10 years. For someone who's in their mid-50s, that's a lot of jail time. Even if he gets the low end of it, being in prison for the rest of his life.
We're going to fight this case with everything we have, as is he, and eventually he's going to be shown to be innocent. And so tomorrow we fight again, and we'll fight every day until we don't have to fight anymore.
The first battle line for Combs' defense team to cross is to keep him out of jail, at least until the trial. So they offer a bail package of $50 million secured by the equity in his and his mother's properties in Florida. The prosecution argues that Combs should be locked up without bail.
There are 3 main reasons why. Number 1, the allegations show he's a danger to the community. Number 2, he's a flight risk. I mean, here's a guy with lots of resources, lots of connections around the world. And third, he had been known to obstruct and tamper with witnesses to try to intimidate them. Why wouldn't he try to do that if he's out?
During the bail hearing, the judge sides with the prosecution. Then Combs' request is subsequently denied again.
Now that he's behind bars pre-trial, you'll see more people come forward who otherwise would have been scared.
I was disappointed in the judge's decision because with such a bail package that was presented, it was more than enough to secure his presence in court. But to have him detained without being convicted, I think is cruel and unusual punishment.
At the time of this recording, Sean Combs is being detained at the notorious Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn until his case goes to trial.
Can you describe the conditions of
the food is inedible, from what I've been told. It's way too hot in the summer. Sometimes there's no heat at all in the winter. The toilet water has been known to freeze. It's violent. Someone like Mr. Combs, might be a target.
You go from living large with your multi-million-dollar mansion and your private plane and your fancy cigars to living in a rat-infested detention facility until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit and a pair of steel bracelets. It's not real. Now it's real.
And one question on everyone's mind, will anyone else go down with Sean Combs?
As a defense attorney who practices in the Southern District of New York, there will be people who are reaching out to defense attorneys such as myself who are worried and concerned that a subpoena is coming and that they too could be involved in a potential prosecution.
Definitely other people will be subpoenaed. I'm curious to see whether other people have been mentioned and the prosecution has struck deals with them to have them cooperate and testify against Sean Combs, or whether down the line there will be additional charges and additional defendants on the indictment.
We are not done. This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
You said we are not done and that Combs did not do this alone. Do you foresee that there could be other charges related to this case?
I'm not taking anything off the table.
No one wants to be mentioned in the same sentence as Diddy right now. No one wants to be in that neighborhood.
I want to express my deep appreciation for the victims and witnesses who have used their voices and helped bring this criminal conduct to light. We would not be here without them.
While D.A. Williams mentioned both victims and witnesses in his news conference, in the actual indictment, no victims are listed specifically, but one is implied.
When we look at the indictment, they mention victim number one. But when you look at the allegations, specifically about a hotel incident that was captured on video where allegedly Sean Combs had beaten on Cassie Ventura, you can only infer that the person that they're talking about as victim number one is Cassie Ventura. So other victims haven't been named in the indictment itself. It could be possibly because when it comes to sexual assault cases, usually you do not mention their name, you keep them under a pseudonym.
Besides the victims' names, something else was left out of the indictment: the allegation that minors might have been solicited or abused at Combs' events, as some of the lawsuits claim.
I think the issue of minors as victims will come up because of the testimony of Don Richard, who alleged that there were minors who were victims here. It just hasn't been charged yet.
In Ronnie Jones's civil lawsuit, he alleges potentially the trafficking of minors.
Then, it's announced a slew of new lawsuits will be filed, and minors are mentioned again.
The wall of silence has now been broken, and victims are coming forward. We now represent 120 individuals who intend to bring civil claims in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs, as well as claims against many other individuals and entities that we will name as defendants as we file these individual cases.
How many minors are making accusations in total, and are the feds aware of the allegations of minors in the case?
I don't know what the feds are aware of, okay, but I do know it's 25 out of this 120.
So, given all the videotapes, personal accounts, and lawsuits, will this trial of Sean Combs be an easy win for the prosecution?
I don't think that this case against Sean Combs is a slam dunk for the prosecution, but I do think it's a layup on a 5-foot rim. I think it is a very easy case for them to put together.
The strength of the prosecution's case is the multiple individuals who have come forward with similar stories. The victims are the key here. And when those allegations are corroborated by others who say similar things, that's the strength of the prosecution's case.
The prosecution has to prove in this case that people were in fact sex trafficked, meaning that people were brought in to perform sexual favors and sexual acts for someone else for Sean Combs' benefit.
Do they have the text messages? What comes out of the cell phone extractions? What is in these videos, these surveillance videos? What has been captured? Is there any statements that have been made by Sean Combs? The cooperators, what information they have, and can they testify against Sean Combs? At this point, we don't know because it hasn't been disclosed and it's still too early on.
This is a high-stakes prosecution, and the feds are going to cross every T and dot every I. You don't want to lose a case when the entire world is watching.
As for the defense strategy, Sean Combs' lawyer has already provided some clues in his bail letter and other statements.
His attorney has said that he is going to employ the defense that, these were all consenting individuals. Everyone wanted to be there and everyone was partaking in all of this.
That's one of their strongest points, that these freak-offs are between consensual adults, and it's not a crime to be a freak or to engage in sexual activity with multiple partners. What makes it illegal is whether the person committed those acts under fraud, force, or coercion.
I think Sean Combs will likely take the stand. It's in his benefit, and he has the personality, the persona, and the experience speaking to people in order to be successful at doing so.
He testified in his last trial and he got acquitted. He's a man who knows what it's like to have a jury of 12 New Yorkers look at you and say not guilty. And he's looking forward to that happening again.
Right now, the defense probably feels okay about their chances, but I think that's going to change if and when the feds start adding additional victims and have perhaps a superseding indictment that could be a game changer.
If the federal government comes for you in an indictment, you're probably going to go to jail. They really don't mess around.
Feds have a 97% conviction rate for a reason. They've got lots of resources. They take limited cases, so they're not filing cases they don't think they can win.
With the criminal trial temporarily scheduled for May of 2025, there are still a lot of unknowns.
Will big-name celebrities be called to testify? Will big-name celebrities be indicted as co-conspirators? Who's going to snitch first? Who's going to get that deal?
If there are other individuals, will there be more charges for them? Is that going to take kind of longer to come out?
Who saw what? Who knows what? Was this common knowledge? Did people know? Did people on the inside know and didn't say anything?
However it all plays out, it's sure to be life-changing for many people, alleged victims, witnesses, and the accused perpetrator himself, Sean Diddy Combs. Whether or not he actually serves prison time, his trial could be the culmination of a long and dramatic fall from grace.
Sean Combs, the mogul as we know it, is over. He will never be that person again, even if he's found not guilty of these charges.
Even at the criminal level, there are certain things that are just unforgivable, and I don't think anyone's going to want to align themselves with him.
But as far as whether people will still listen to his music, I don't think this will be the end of Diddy on our airwaves.
We're talking about a person who contributed so much to culture. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about a person who help provide soundtracks to our lives. You're talking about a person, especially you being from New York City, you had to be inspired by Sean Combs in some way, shape, or form.
Diddy's been an icon for decades. We've all listened to his music. We've all been around him, at least in my era, and have looked up to him. And in this situation, it's super unfortunate, but it's important to learn a lesson, right now, and ensure the next generation understands how to move differently with transparency and integrity.
What's happening to him now is one of the greatest tragedies that we're gonna ever read about, bro. And he brought it on himself.
Here's the question. Will Sean Combs' enormous empire, threatened by so many lawsuits and revelations, finally collapse? Will he pay a terrible price, or Will he skirt the charges? Fans and foes alike will be watching to see what happens next. That's all we have for you here on this episode of Prime Crime. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Jesse Weber, and as always, stay safe.